whether angel investing in Europe is a smart strategy or, I would say, an expensive hobby.
If it's an expensive hobby, then it's only an expensive hobby because you made it a hobby.
Angel investors, they actually don't usually do more than a couple of investments, and that brings them zero returns.
If among 3 or 4 startups you will have a significant success, it means that you are simply lucky.
Valuation at pre-seed or seed, art or science.
But in crypto, you do not invest in any fundamental significant value.
What is your take and what we will see in the next, 5 years?
Oh my God, is Nvidia going to be good? And is Western Digital going to be good or bad? Oh my God. No, you cannot do oh my gods a lot. You have to work.
What should I have asked you today that I didn't?
Great that you are calling me. I also have a business for 25,000. Would you invest into mine?
Nice. Hello, my name is Magiera. I am a managing director at ICLUB, one of the largest European angel networks powered by TA Ventures. And we are 7,000 investors from 42 countries. And across from me is Maciej Sadowski, who is actually the co-founder and lead expert at Startup Hub Poland. Also ex-VC, Giza Polish Ventures, Start Ventures Poland, Start Finder VC, Hobin Angels Investment Ecosystem Mentor of 2026.
Peculiar title.
Interesting.
But it's very nice to have
very
it.
nice. It's very nice. And Financial Times named Maciej New Europe 100.
10 years ago, but
Wow.
correct.
Yeah, but for me personally, Maciej is a great friend.
Likewise, Anya.
Thank you. And I would say a face and main representative of Polish ecosystem, but also kind of, the ambassador of the region, trying to connect, the dots. And what I like about what you do and how you do it is that you really try to, to be part of it and very organically. You try to know people, to connect with people and to connect people. That's, I think, a really important value that you bring. Today, I want to talk on a very, I would say, controversial probably for somebody topic. And I couldn't think about anyone better than you to talk about that.
What a responsibility.
Well, yeah, for both of us, right? So we'll be talking about whether angel investing in Europe is a smart strategy or, I would say, an expensive hobby.
Excellent controversy at the beginning.
Yeah. I would start that I actually, I believe that this is a smart strategy. It could be a smart strategy. But many people that are doing that are not doing it and actually as a one, right? Angelists performed a research, and what they found was that angel investors, they actually don't usually do more than a couple of investments. And that brings them zero returns, we know. And I hope that at the end of our conversation...
I would say too little investments.
Yeah. And at the end of our conversation, I hope that more people will comprehend that actually it makes more to bring results and real returns. I think that investing in a couple of companies and expecting something to happen is not a strategy, but more of an expensive hobby. What's your take on that?
Sure. I will try to make myself available to this very controversy, but first of all I need to express my gratitude and thankfulness, Anya, a great friend but also a host of this podcast, for having me. It's a privilege and it's an honor. I am, you might say that it's just a compliment, but in fact I'm watching your other iClub videos, your talks with other colleagues. I really like them, and I need to say that I was expecting an invitation. Finally, I'm in your studio and we can talk about startup angel investments, which is a topic close to my heart. I would probably discuss and rather argue with you about this role of ambassador of the ecosystem, of Polish ecosystem abroad. If so, then one among few. There are people like you, people like other colleagues. We can name this little number of people who are really for 10, even 15, like us, years are working on behalf of engineers, girls and boys from Central Eastern Europe, mainly Ukraine and Poland, because these are two biggest markets, but also other countries, Great Romania, Great Baltic, 3 states, to find better ground to develop their solutions. And now I'm trying to smoothly move towards your question about angeling. Well, when you told me that the research says that most of angels are investing into 1, 2, 3, few, let's say few, handful of projects, and they got zero from this investment. Well, zero in the absolute numbers would be good, because if they, for example, invest altogether, just for simple math, $1 million, and they get zero as a balance, it means that they returned 1 million, which is, but even they are on minus. But with angeling, I think a proper comparison is if you choose a career of astrophysicist and you want to make a big discovery and you have a very expensive big telescope, which is your assets when we transfer it to angeling, and you point your telescope into few regions of the universe, and you make 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, and you haven't discovered any interesting phenomena in outer space. But it does not mean that there is nothing to discover. You just need to commit yourself to that. If it's an expensive hobby, then it's only an expensive hobby because you made it a hobby. If you treat it as a hobby, and if you make 1 or 2 or 3 investments, then prior to the decision, if the person comes to me, I would rather suggest, hey, maybe you do not invest in high-risk startups. Maybe you invest in small businesses. Maybe you know somebody who has an excellent auto service. Yes, and the auto service wants to expand. In 3 years, instead of 1 workshop, 1 point, there will be 2 points. You can get some revenue from it, or you can later think about maybe bigger expansion, maybe 4 points in Warsaw, maybe 2 cities, maybe 3 cities. So very slow moving organic projects, because this is safer. In the worst, not maybe in the worst, but in a relatively bad scenario, you can sell your equity presence to some other investor, but never expect 11 laps curve of growth. Never expect that. So if you really make yourself not risk-averted person and you invest in startups, then I would rather suggest to invest into many startups. 3 might disappoint you. If among 3 or 4 startups you will have a significant success, it means that you are simply lucky. You actually won on lottery. But if you made 10, 11, 12 investments, you should already expect at least 1 very proper project. Of course, still you can say, Maciek, but you need to select your projects. Sure, but usually probably you will touch this point. Investing with somebody who makes a proper due diligence is always a good strategy. If I may, just 1 sentence. I also like, and I don't want to diminish, this element of hobby. Because it's good. So a little bit in contrary to what I have said prior to this sentence, if you treat this activity as a good mission for the economy, you are not investing, and I'm sorry, I don't want to disappoint all of your crypto followers and people who are watching us and they are lovers of crypto, but in crypto you do not invest in any fundamental significant value. And when you invest in startups, you usually make, or at least buy, a promise of a little bit better world. Maybe safer, maybe cleaner, maybe, I know, doing something more efficient, maybe doing something more in a more democratic way, maybe something that makes the price of some medical goods lower or more accessible. So I would say that even if you are not successful in terms of finances, which should be your goal, and we should talk today how to get closer to this scenario, it's still a hobby in this meaning that it's a very nice mission. And it's a feature of a soul of nice people to invest into young engineering team, because they can change something. And real estate or crypto or, I don't know, paintings of 19th century painters will not change much. It might be a good investment sometimes, but it will not change the world into a place which is better for your kids and grandkids.
Interesting. Yesterday we had a session in our ICLUB Angel Academy, and we invited our TA Ventures analyst to talk to our investors and to tell them how actually we choose deals, what we look at, etc. At the end, I asked Alex to give an advice or, to tell something to these aspiring investors, angel investors. And he said, one of the things, maybe it would sound kind of cliche, but I would say kind of leave this thing, like live with it. Not just do that, like, treat it like a job or something, but more like live it. Take some time to, to listen to some podcast or to watch some nice YouTube video, to follow some interesting people, just, to get into that and to get interested. And this, I think the sense of hobby is there, you're making
I
that.
agree.
Yeah, that's a nice one. So you kind of,
It's Alex.
you can start, so you can start as a hobby, but then, kind of.
You should professionalize.
Yeah, step by step, you kind of professionalize. But yeah, if there is no this part of, humanity inside, then it won't work as well, right? Interesting.
Yes, and also I think that those who are listening to analysts of venture capital funds are already in good place. Still, you can listen all of the smart people in the room and still make wrong investment, because the founders of a startup you invested in might turn into quarrelly situation. The technology might go wrong. The regulations of the country might go wrong. The general economic situation or emergence of a great competitor in Argentina or in, I don't know, Japan might kill your uniqueness. But still, if you are talking to a VC analyst, you are already in a very, very good place. These are the I was a VC analyst. These are, and I'm sorry, that's an auto compliment, but these are guys who are professionally studying certain subjects, and although they don't need to be as good as founders in executing that, they are even better in criticizing the hypothesis.
Yeah, and he also mentioned, like, during the day, he said that I have to look at companies, very different companies, and I have to learn different things, different insights, and also to think whether, this can be built or this can be solved or this can be solved otherwise, and all these things are really a nice place to start, right? To start analyzing the deal. And actually, you mentioned your background, and I wanted to get into that because I mentioned like ex-VC, so I wanted to dig a bit into that. So you got into venture actually through your mentor, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. I would like you to share it, and also like a follow-on to share when kind of this change from just being the newcomer into becoming a person who is actually asked into the room and asked the opinion on the deal, etc. So if you could share it.
Sure. I will start with a very nice, actually, very cozy story with my mentor. And I will end up with a statement that I've heard from a very recognizable and very powerful investor, Bartek, who participated in a great panel run by my dear friend recently, but it will be at the end maybe of this answer. So first of all, the name of the mentor is Marek. The last name is Bożestowski. I believe he did not know by that time, but he was a startupper one day. He would not call himself a startupper because we didn't have this vocabulary in Central Europe. We used to say entrepreneur, we used to say leader of a young IT company. He still is an engineer, but by that time a very young engineer who observed how the media market changes in US and tried to implement some elements of Yahoo, like successful functions in early internet in Poland. And he built a company that some of your viewers might recognize because it's still a very strong, probably the biggest IT company, media company in Central Eastern Europe, Wirtualna Polska, Virtual Poland. And Marek became the first CEO, and then he was also this founder who was responsible for M&A process, because as a proper startupper, still, I think he did not realize he was a startupper in today's vocabulary, but he was a proper startupper because he wanted to exit his company. This is one of the goals that every angel, every venture capital investor should have in his or her mind, that we need one day to leave the company. It's not a family company for generations. It's 5-10 years journey, finito della musica. And Marek, when he exited this company, he jumped immediately as a young star of business to those lists of the wealthiest people, more successful people, head covers of all the magazines, business magazines, and he became a star. And I recognized him as when he moved to Warsaw, and he emerged in my little ecosystem of philosophers, because by that time I was a student of philosophy, and my friend told me, hey, I met this very interesting guy. He just exited from an IT company. I think he's a good person to know, and he's looking for young people to work with him on new projects.
Wow.
And one of the new projects was Grouper, which was a clone of American Groupon, implemented in Poland with a huge success. There was a moment when together with Groupon, Grouper and Groupon had together like 90% of the market, and even strong guys like Allegro, when they wanted to compete, that they could not handle the quality of these two brands. And after I left Grouper, Marek called me asking one question that really changed my path of career. And I remember it was December or January. It was very cold, and I was having a beer in Warsaw downtown, Poznańska Street. I remember very well. And he called me from the middle of nowhere. We haven't been talking for quite some time. And he asked me a question. Maciej, sorry for interrupting. I know it's the middle of the night, but I need to ask you something. Do you think, my little younger friend, that Poland does participate in a global competition for talents, or rather not? And I said, oh my God, after 2 beers, I don't know. How are you? Thank you for calling me sometime. Nice. And I said, I don't know, not intuitively. But he says, intuitively, yes. No, I'd never heard. I never read a paper about that. Nobody ever actually focused my attention on the topic of startups and talents competition. And he said, okay, so I take your negative answer and I will call you maybe after I push forward my own deduction. And he called after a week saying that he put all of the analysis to the ground, and he highly disagrees with me. He thinks that Poland is actually a very, very active, Ukraine, Poland, Romania, that we are extremely active players in the global market of talents. We play important role as a free donor. We donate talents. We give a lot, like, countries like Israel, Germany, Great Britain, and first of all, United States. Together, we also would say China and Arabic states, Gulf states. But by that time, mainly US, we are great donors. People graduate from Shevchenko University, from Warsaw Technical University, from Politechnika Gdańska, from really, really proper universities. They have professors which during the Cold War times, they were top-notch inventors, these professors, and they are these talents are their students or students of students. So they should be very good, but they just pack the backpacks and go to US and they make their career in Silicon Valley or New York or Austin. So he said, let's build some mechanisms, some magnets to keep talents in Central Eastern Europe here. And that's how Startup Hub Poland actually started. I know there is Poland in name of this organization, but you know it very well. And you can say that it has a normal Central Eastern European range. Of course, Poland, because of the lucky history and lucky decisions, we are the biggest European Union Eastern market, European Union, because we can argue Turkey and Ukraine also very big markets, but in European Union. So naturally, of course, the R&D grants, the incentives for investors are very proper, very huge in Poland. So that was the beginning. And now, I know the mentor story was a little bit too long. You can cut
but
it.
It's nice. It's really interesting. What was the year, actually, of that question? What was the year?
It was after Grouper, so it had to be 2010 or 2011.
Okay.
2010 or 2011, because we started Startup Hub Poland 2012. We will have 15 years in next year. Next year. So we have a party maybe. And Marek, he also starts venture capital fund. It was Giza Polish Ventures. So in parallel, I was trying to kick off these. Of course, not alone. There was a group of great people who we still friendly with, and they are still in the market, by the way. Either analysts or founders or CFOs or brokers or managers of innovation, technology transfer specialists. So they are still working somewhere, managers in corporations, but for open innovation. So it was also a nice kindergarten for people who are right now very important and prominent in the ecosystem. Giza Polish Ventures was investing into deep tech early stage projects. I still love this category of project most of all. I know you also like it. And there was a moment when I could possibly think that I get enough knowledge to speak as an expert, as a mentor. Yet my philosophy and my self-assessment has been summarized by our friend Bartek Gola, who in your panel 3 weeks ago said he's much more experienced than I am. I remember when he first entered my office, and I was really, really touched and enthusiastic that such a legend, already a legend, is coming to my office, that he recognizes me as a colleague to talk to and have a coffee. So I remember exactly. He probably does not remember. It was on Narbuta Street, Warsaw. He's from Poznań. And Bartek in your panel said recently, the more I am into investments, the more investments I sign, the more processes of de-risking and exiting startups I see, and bankrupting startups I see, the more I believe I know nothing. It's like Jon Snow, who learned from in Game of Thrones, you know nothing, Jon Snow. I feel he expressed an intuition that I had with me for lots of time. Today, I need to say I know nothing. I know methodologies. I can attach different methodologies to different cases, but I know that even if you really eat yourself, even if you jump 100 kilometers high, you cannot make a justified decision. There is always an element of risk, and you just don't know the future. You don't know. Funny things can happen. For example, the founder can fall in love and leave the country. The founder can become lazy. The founder can realize that parents are very ill and he or she needs to fight for them. And without founder, the business is empty. It's not a corporate. When there is a change among SP 500 leadership, okay, you'd probably not even follow that.
Absolutely.
Oh, the company number 75 changes the management board. But in startup, when you change the leader, everything changes and it's actually a different project, or there is no project really. So you can use all of the skills and methodology. You can talk to all of the smart people there. You can use all of the LLM analytical agents to help you. By the way, I'm doing it more and more, but still I treat it as junior voices. I get some knowledge. Maybe I look at things from different perspectives when I analyze a startup, but then the final word comes from discussion with you, with other colleagues of ours. I haven't been asked about that, but this is one of my tricks. This one I learned from another co-founder of Startup Hub Poland, Robert Dziubowski, who I see him doing that. He got a pitch deck from me, and immediately he shares this pitch deck with a 1, 2 or sentences with questions to several contacts, and he waits a week. And then some echo comes back. And guys from Miami says this, guys from Chengdu says this, guys from Johannesburg says this, from Krakow says this, from Kiev says this. And only that he can says, well, I'm adding my statement as number 10th, and I can tell you, Maciek, I don't like the project, for example. I checked with my peers. So also very good. If you are a good networker, you can actually think like a brain without relying only on your assessment.
You know, like getting this kind of validation, right, from the network. But you mentioned one of the things we also discussed yesterday, like, because, you know, the question to the analyst was, one of the question was, well,
I haven't been there.
But
I haven't been there.
But the question was very related to LLMs and agents, right? It was, okay, so what part of your job can be actually substituted, right? And what can't be substituted at all or in the nearest future. And of course it came like, you know, first of all, the judgment, like the real judgment of people, of, you know, the problem, like not just getting the information from different sources, but actually making the judgment at the end of the day. And that was the human part. And also I like this one, like connecting, like you build your own neural, you know, network. Right?
Yeah.
But human, it's really
Very
much
good
more
comparison.
much more stronger because it has real experience, it has real insights, and it works much more efficiently, I think. Interesting.
I haven't been, unfortunately, on this meeting of ICLUB, Academy. I will gladly come next time, but I see I missed lots of great topics yesterday. I would be much more happy using AI and LLM models if they were not so positive, kind, and cheerful. For I don't recall one case when I, for example, just gave like a one column of text about startup, like it does this and this, it solves that problem, it addresses this market, and it's looking for this and that money. Always the LLM model says, "Wow, what a great project!" Because these algorithms have a feature to please you, to make you happy. The dialogue needs to be a fantastic experience for you. Of course, you can hack it by making very specific, like never be so enthusiastic, actually try to be super investigative, try to be super negative, try to be super criticizing person in this mental process. But if I get one day, probably it will be possible, if I get just the raw algorithm from Anthropic or from OpenAI, I would be very happy. Then the real talk with AI can happen. Of course, you said that Alex was facing this question of your investors. Which part of your job is being supplemented?
It can be substituted.
Research, definitely research. Come on,
of course.
And it's nothing wrong. It does not make me stupid. Actually, it makes me faster, because have we used Google 10 years ago? Of course we used. You can say also, no, go to library and check everything in papers, but it's just faster. So for research is great. Of course, there's a certain element of lunatism, less and less every season, but there is. So just, check in few sources, read the sources, and then you can have, for example, I like to check benchmarks and valuations. If I see that medtech companies are buying during within M&A processes like crazy, startups in, for example, I don't know, skin cancer detection, then it gives me some green color in my reasoning that it's a sexy moment. Everybody's fighting for that. Like, I gave a very basic example, and everybody can say, yeah, sure, cancers, of course, we are looking for new therapies and diagnostic methods, but it's very good to see what is hot on the market.
Signals,
Without LLMs, your signals will come to you, but after 5 days of research, not 50 minutes or 1 hour of research.
Yeah, we can become just, superhumans using that.
Yes,
why not?
Faster.
Why not?
You agree with that, Tanya? Sorry for changing the roles, but
no, but absolutely.
I never asked you.
I think that like for me, like that statement that using AI you will work less. I don't agree with that at all. I see that I work more,
a bit more
because I use more tools, and I try to see which work. I try to compare my results with the results of different tools and try to make it because now I have much more opportunities and possibilities to do that, right? So, and I agree with you. Like I always say, when I started 20 years ago in this industry, so to get to analyze a startup, to make due diligence.
It was EY in Kiev?
No, but even when I started working in startups, in private equity fund, for example, right? We had to analyze some materials. And what did we do? We called people, we talked to people, to humans, asked questions from different industries, specific industries, and we asked them about
lots of calling.
Of course, it's like calling, writing
I
emails.
Do that.
Yes, but you can get you can get in parallel many different tracks, and at the end I think it just makes you much more efficient and gives you more material to work with. I'm kind of I'm a nerd in that. I like to have a lot of data to dig in. The more the better, and that's why I consider that to be as a kind of assistant, a co-pilot, but not somebody who can replace.
Lovely. I can add upon of that people, of course, they believe that I know something about AI. Today there is a fashion to be an AI expert. I do not I do not sign into this to this group. Of course, as a consumer of the new tools, and member of the startup investment community, I need to understand what is going on. My take is that 15% of top people in their profession they will be just triple that good. And unfortunately for the politicians, because they will need to handle with disappointed people, 80% of people who are a little bit more lazy, a little bit more forgiving to themselves, a little bit more vulnerable when it comes to hard work, to use any euphemisms I can come up to speak about just people who are not that determined. They will, of course, have something to do, but maybe not the dream jobs.
Yeah. But again, that's kind of a challenge that puts you in in kind of some motivational mode. And I think it's good. That's a competition. And competition is always good, and you have something kind of to compete with or to be better than, then you find some layers in your expertise that you haven't seen before. Humans, they need humans.
And do you feel dumber thanks to AI?
No, I often tell my models that they are kind of a bit dumb today, for example.
Yeah.
What's
Me neither.
that? No,
I feel
no.
dumber because of the age, like a little bit, like 2% every year. I see that.
Yeah,
But on the other hand, no, it only makes my works more splendid. I don't wait that much for answers. I can get things immediately.
Yeah, that's actually great. I think we are very lucky too, because we have experienced that time, and now we're experiencing this time, and we can feel the real,
we are
real
pre-internet
benefits.
And I'm glad that you have invited me to the podcast, because we have so little time working that there is no chance to really talk intellectually, philosophically about these things. And today we can, and even some colleagues can watch it online and maybe leave comments and
sure. Because I think the topics are very, up to date and what everybody's thinking about or working with. So, and actually, like using the VC background, how do you feel? And looking at people in the industry and angel investors, I know that you meet angel investors on a regular basis. Do you think that kind of this venture background, it helps to be a better angel investor, or it could only kind of slow down, or maybe, kind of make people more too confident sometimes when they are making angel investments?
The second thing, yes, too self-confident, that's a problem. And we should have like auto-adjustment therapy inside of our minds to get rid of this. This self-confidence is actually ruining lots of analytical processes. But the first thing that you mentioned, I think no. I think it's great that a good venture capitalist has his or her feet on the brakes, and it's like driving very, very fast vehicle, and you are really controlling the speed by slowing down the vehicle, although it's very, very fast, by pushing these brakes a lot. And the art is to know when you say enough of slowing down, but you need to slow down. Recently, I've been with my dear friend on a weekend seminar with angel investors who invested. There was a big group of colleagues, and they invested very, very fast in one company, not little money. And I thought, oh my God, they are from different planets. They are in probably many respects far better than me, because they don't lose 3 months of thinking. Because for me, it's like I cannot imagine really an investment below the threshold of 3 months. As an angel, as a VC, never. As an analyst of accelerator in Startup Hub Poland, we run. I hope you will ask about that, because this is also an element of methodology. If you want to be safer angel, put your startup through acceleration program. You can go to Poland Booster, get some grants, or Warsaw Booster, similar names, and you can have trials in big metropolitan facilities with partners from big city. So there are tools. We can cover them if you like only. I cannot imagine investing before, like, of course, it's a journalistic headline, not less than 3 months. Of course, it can be 2 months, but I mean, 3 months, I need just to, for example, meet the people. If you agree with me that the startup is predominantly people, the people who run it, then you need to meet mainly these people. You need to actually invest more focus and attention to knowing them better, talking to them, experiment with them mentally to check their behaviors and their attitudes, then to check the business model, because that can be changed. To talk about features of your technology and product and elements of your technology, budgets, that can be fixed. I don't say it's not important, but you need to meet the person and look at his eyes, understand his nature of his agenda. And his motivation and the material he or she is built from. And I need times for that. For example, I challenge a founder with some very delicate topics, like, hey, and could you check it for me? And this little, what do you think about that? Have you been discussing with your co-founders? If no, would you be willing to check it for me and give me a call in 2 weeks? And if they are saying like, no, I'm not your assistant to give you a call, then I see probably it will not be the best match. And if they say, hey, actually it's a great dilemma. No, we haven't discussed it deep, but good. If you are willing to have a coffee in 2 weeks, we will gladly. Actually, you know what? We'll make an experiment. We have this prototype. We can check how it behaves here and there. And then when they are coming back, I can ask more questions. I see how they reacted. I ask not even about the result of the experiment of this challenge, but the way of thinking, what they were doing. Did they invest if they invest too much energy and they said, Maciek, we forgot about the universe outside. We only been talking about, and then I would say, no, wait.
much.
It was just a side topic. You have business to run.
Yeah.
You have your opportunities to exploit. So please don't focus on me that
Okay.
much. So I need to see whether the decorum, this harmony is there or not. And for example, I like to also to make very I learned in Giza. Giza was a Polish-Israeli fund, and I learned quite a lot from my Polish bosses and from their Israeli partners. Like, for example, I learned a category of analysis called personal due diligence.
Okay.
Probably many business angels know that there is a need of due diligence or assessment before investment. But do they think about personal due diligence? Personal due diligence is, for example, to go for a dinner and not avoiding having a glass or two of wine. And checking how they behave after that. Do you think that business can go without wine? Sure, but maybe there will be someday on the cocktail you want to see how they behave after a little amount of alcohol. And sometimes one of the tricks I learned, but I will share only this one, not to spoil my own methods. For example, I say, and this is very tricky, I say like, hey, George, let's imagine, George, I see that you and Kate, for example, you are working on this for 2 years, but let's be, when I'm alone only with him or her, but let's be honest. Everything you have achieved, it's because of you. You have made everything. And Kate, come on, she's like, nice that she's with you, but she's like optional. And this is an ultimate test.
Wow.
If the person says, oh, Maciek, I'm so sorry you misunderstood the whole structure of our team. Actually, Kate is the person who keeps our company strong, and she's the driver, and she's the intellectual, rocket, and she brings the capital, the contacts, networking. And I am rather the humble guy who deals with. Then I'm thinking, oh my God, this is the team I really want to work with. And when the answer is like, when you said it, actually, I thought maybe I should have more credits. Yeah, actually, it's this 50-50 cap table structure. It's maybe not adequate because obviously I'm the genius who created everything. I composed the concept. So then I think that's okay. It was so simple to demascate you as a stupid arrogant who will never work with me. Wow. And now, of course, this trick is spoiled, it's burnt. No, I cannot use it for a year or something. But I have other tricks to better understand when these founders are proper or not.
You know that like Google, they took their like C-level people and they wanted to hire them. They took them to BlackRock and to this.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
They took that then there to see how they, how they survive. How they can survive, or to go to some fishing,
spend some time together.
Spend some time together in kind of space which is very different from like workspace. Absolutely different, to see person out of that, and it shows that's kind of that thing. I think it's really very important.
It makes sense. I didn't know, but it's exactly within the same category of thinking.
Personal due diligence, nice. That one is nice. About this like timing, right? You mentioned that you need like more time to make the decision. And for example, in ICLUB, we provide our investors with less time, definitely less time. Like we show them deals for a couple of weeks, and they make.
What
the
is
decision.
Couple? 2 or
2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks. It depends, but 2-3 weeks. This is average, But again, here's the syndicate.
Yeah.
So my question would be, is like, if there are these structures involved, like, as you mentioned, putting through acceleration or some programs or syndicates or fund. So does it actually help a private investor? Is it worth being a part of such ecosystem, or better to do it on your own?
I guess that there are some people who will do it by their own anyway, no matter what we say, because they have natural inclinations towards being a single wolf.
Agree.
But I would never. I source my strengths from the ecosystem. I talk a lot. I ask, for example, when I evaluate startup to get to acceleration program, which is not like that risky, because accelerator is to make organized fails, and mistakes. So sure, even I am calling to other, because I see they graduated from a Munich program. I have a guy on LinkedIn or a girl. I'm talking, hey, any recollection about these founders? Do you like them? Yeah, they were on time. They were very interesting questions. Like, good guys. Then I think, okay, good. I haven't demascated some bad behaviors. Good. So if I were an angel working in your framework, first of all, I will rely, of course, about analysts like Alex, judgment. They made all of the due diligence, and they are proper people, top people in Europe. So sure, I can be certain about their assessment, but I can complement their work with some additional work takeaway home task that I can do myself. For example, checking on LinkedIn. Usually we have few people. If I want to invest my money, and it's not just Fanabery, doesn't work in Fanabery French. Come on, it's important moment in your business life. You put money into unknown people. So call few people, ask. It's normal. You can, of course, let the founder know so that they don't feel stressed like, hey, I want to make few calls and ask about your reputation. Is that fine for you? And then I would definitely add this element. But putting a startup, if you are not that hurry, if you see that a startup went through a good, reputed acceleration program, this is a great information. It's like such a solid fundament. You have people to call. You can read the press releases. You can check usually the video recording from the demo day. You can ask the analyst. You can ask the clients, the partners, the sponsors, some VCs that were around. You can ask, for example, yourself, there is, for example, I'm making it up. There is ABC VC. I just make up the name. Probably there is ABC because it's such a nice name. But do you know ABC? No. But we can in Australia somewhere there might be like. But you know what I mean. Any VC. You see there is a brand of this VC on a website of an accelerator, and you cannot find an information that this startup has received an investment from this VC. I think it's normal to ask the VC and say, hey guys, have you really been in this program? Yes, course. We've been. Have you seen all of the startups? Yes. And what would you say about XYZ startup? Well, I know, okay, I remember, good guys, but I didn't like this and that, or it does not fit our policy, or some answer. And then if somebody rejected a project, is it a killed already project? No. But you always make the weight measurement.
Yes.
And this is element to the minus. The VC have seen the project, but haven't seeded it. That did not seed it. And ecosystem, I cannot really stress enough how important it is to follow the startup on the conferences, to ask colleagues from the industry. Is it possible in ICLUB to have like any talks with a founder before investment?
Now we actually have what we have done because we have 7,000 investors, so it would be kind of difficult logistically.
7,000 already?
Yes, 7,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you and your
number one.
in your team, because I remember when it was less than 1,000.
Yes, we grew tremendously. Crazy. We grew tremendously, and it's teamwork. And of course, the product. The product is really working because when we launched the app and now we have the web version, so it's absolutely different, speed of growth. Actually, what we do, because it's very difficult to put everyone in one room, for example, and make possible them to talk to the founder at one time, because 42 countries, how to logistically make that happen. And we found the format now that we have a call, which basically now I record that call with the founder. When I come with the questions, yes, I share the questions prior to the call, but it's a live conversation and they can show themselves, how they act, how they react to the questions, how they answer, do they provide deliberate answers or, very short answers. It's even that thing is very helpful. I'm getting feedbacks from some investors that I'm in touch with, and they are saying that was good because good questions. I got some insights, and now I want to dig in. Now I need to can we discuss that and that. So this is kind of the first step. I understand you when you tell about this personal touch. It's very important. For example, in our fund, in our fund, nobody, we won't invest in the company if someone from the venture, from partners, doesn't talk to the founder. Somebody should personally talk to this person.
Not even once, but
because we have people from the fund. We have the team in all our geographies, which are our key geographies. That's why it's crucial that somebody meets the person once, second time, and then make the decision. Then how it works now. We put the first fund puts the money in, and then after the company goes through this first pre-seed valley of death, our favorite valley of death, when a lot of startups die, when this company shows the traction and is ready for the next round, then we show it in ICLUB, and then it's kind of funnel after funnel after funnel, and you get like selected, like very selected deal
I
flow.
love it.
Yeah, and then you have a bit different approach than going and doing it by yourself. But what I see now from investors, because in the academy, I'm leading the academy and I'm talking to these investors,
Lucky
aspiring.
students, really.
I see that for them, it's like, it's very important when they start, they had no prior kind of, like we had VC experience, we've been in the industry for years. We are still in the industry. We are in an ecosystem. We are very lucky to have like conversation like this, the conversation like at this panel with Bartek and
yes.
with Boris. It's really very important to build your mindset, and for them they need something like that. And I think that for them, the partners like syndicates or some programs, some experts, they can be very helpful, kind of leading them hand in hand, kind of romantically.
Absolutely,
but
yes.
hand in hand, leading them to that right decision, because it's very difficult to start and to build your investment strategy.
But would you be very disappointed if I, member of your network, for example, calls the founder saying, hey, would you be willing to meet one of my business partners because he is from that industry and he can help you with, and like no matter they
we actually
not nice?
Even make connections. For example, somebody from our investors come and say, so I see this deal and I actually have a very good business offer for the founders. Can we talk with the founders directly? And we arrange that, because that's kind of, that's a win-win. Then investor is investing, but also he wants to help the business grow. So there are many things like that. This kind of, that's magic, I call a bit, when this connecting the right people at the right moment. But that's the added value, and I think we definitely like that, and we help to make it happen. Yeah, I have another question. You see the angel investors and how they behave, what they do, how they build portfolios. What do you think? What is the the habit that really helps a person to start, building the right portfolio, and what traits or character traits or whatever could be very tricky and could actually kill it?
You asked me very difficult questions today, but I understand what is the mission of your questions. We want to extract some proper tactics and football tricks on the pitch. Tech enthusiasts should be founders, but maybe not angels, because they can very fast lose all of the free assets. I remember from Giza, there was one colleague from Haifa, so I will just stick to his nickname. He had a no-go nickname. No-go,
nice.
let's say, no-go Maciek, no-go Anna. That was his and this is a safe tactics.
Okay.
Yes, of course, you can look at million of startups and you can say, oh my God, they are bankrupted companies. They have no money on their accounts, some ideas. Everybody can have ideas. Ideas are commodity. Ideas are simple. They are young. They are not experienced. I think this is zero, and this is zero. Everything is zero. And this is sure. Sometimes when I talk to our startups accountants ask me, Maciej, why you think this startup is such a glorious prospect? I look at the balance sheet and I see a bankrupt. I say, yes, because I know that they constantly burn money, but it's for the purpose. It's a planned strategy to burn for a year, 2, 3 years, sometimes 5 years if it's medtech, for example, or new materials, some, crazy science. And then big player from NASDAQ is coming and buying it north from $100 million. And this is, even though the company had never had a revenue, solid revenue or things like that. So probably the feature of an angel, super optimism, is not very good.
Okay.
I think it's really nice, and you can learn it from every YouTube there is in internet. Convince yourself that this money that you have invested is already gone. Make discomfort, you have lost it, you burned the money, there is no money. Then you will be very happy by learning in 3-4 years that there is some secondaries or some exit, and you can have really nice money, return the capital you put, you can have the hurdle rate, the cost of capital in time, plus positive return on investment. But it's good if you are not, but the same with stock activities. You cannot just, lose your sleeping comfort by thinking, oh my God, is Nvidia going to to be good, and is Western Digital going to be good or bad? Oh my God. No, you cannot do oh my gods a lot. You have to work, and this also implies another feature. You should be relatively wealthy. Well, I am a bad example because I'm not like super wealthy. I'm a middle class, aspirational middle class minus, I would even say. So, but I have another assets that I can put to startup. For example, I can give contacts, some kind of analytics, some kind of pre-round, pre-investment fundraising methods, or help in these elements. So my value, I know it's not only monetary, but if you want to be a proper angel and build a portfolio, not be occasional weekend investor, you should really have, in my opinion, like around $500,000 free money. I mean, not money that your family existence depends on.
Okay.
It's good. Well, but there are also question my own take here, saying that I know also some micro angels, and this is also very good. But micro, it's a game when still you rely on the interest of bigger angels. But if you want to be a smaller fish, there is a scaling down in angeling. You can scale down.
Okay.
But for example, in ICLUB, I know you have requirements that you cannot be too small. If you are too small, that may be way.
Again, you see, for example, if you're taking the averages, so the minimum ticket is $5,000, right? And
so that's little.
That's little. And like 20 plus companies in the portfolio, it's already a very good portfolio. I would say that's already a solid portfolio for a private investor, right? So that would be like 520, so it's 100. But remember, pro rata, follow-on investment, etc. So I would say like 150 to 100. That's
dollars.
Like dollars. That's a capital that would help to build a strong, sustainable portfolio.
Okay.
But not within a year. It's like, you can do that year by year.
Not every year are good startups.
Yeah, so you can just, make it through like 4 years. And that's already not that intense, right? So yeah, I would say that now, every year it's becoming more and more democratized. We see it, and it really works.
So the transactions that I followed and observed as a participant or like a facilitating party because of Startup Hub Poland or things like that, or working in VC, there were usually individuals a little bit bigger than that, usually 60, sorry for going stereotypical, but usually like 50, 60, still active in business and still earning money, experienced, with a good names which resembles and echoes in industry, and people who, for example, who are very selective when it comes to domains. To give you a picture, I made my money on fintech. Then they are authentic and natural candidates for being angels in fintech because they know people, they know regulation, they know weak points and labyrinth and everything. You asked about this attitude. I know I haven't tackled this very question. The attitude that is good for angeling and not good for angeling. Today, listening to you and listening to our discussion, I've been thinking about different metaphor, like parliamentarism. The political phenomena. We meet in a assembly room and we discuss about laws. We discuss, I disagree with you, but so I would say that this should be also the parliamentarism should be a method for investment. You should really talk a lot. Enjoy the fact that you are in a group, a syndicate of angels. Talk to another people. Maybe they will point you at alone, you are blind, but if somebody reveals that there is a deficit or weakness, then you can think about it. You can elaborate with the third person. I like this, for example, with is it possible to mention some smaller groups of angels that I know, or not? You don't want very much to do that.
Okay.
Like this club with DZP, SHP plus DZP, the Maciej Sadowski Palinka and Startup Hub Poland, the Startup Excellence Club. So I know that if we expose a startup to one individual angel, let's say you are more keen to say no-go to the startup when you are alone, but when you are surrounded with the people equipped with wine, and there are 4 people in the little group, and you talk, and then you ask a question, somebody answers, somebody hears that, somebody, there is a dialogue, and then you say, hey, you know what? 100 would be good for me. And these people say, oh, I'm happy that you mentioned, if Anya is in, I can also think about 200. And the third one, hey guys, this startupper needs 500,000. I would add this missing 200. So only if they are together, they can come up with this decision. Alone, it will be a round of no-goes. Maybe, an elegant no-go. An elegant no-go is, oh, maybe I will call you later. Let me think. This is an elegant no-go. So you will give an elegant no-go. But if you are in a group, this metaphor, it's yours. The metaphor of brain, you cannot come up with a better comparison. You need to behave as a little synapses.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you are blind, and sure you can win, but
the chances are lower.
Chances are lower,
much lower,
unnecessarily lower, because talking is for free. You need to invest an evening.
Yeah.
Take a bottle of wine, go to a club like ICLUB or Startup Excellence Club, or to Cobbin Angels Gala or something. By the way, you asked me some questions. They are having very good reports every year. And some of these questions, like how to behave, are also covered in the data, because they evaluate is ICLUB going to do the same, maybe?
I think that's something like that, because we actually have now access to so many investors.
Yeah,
and we
7,000. Wow.
Yeah, we are the largest group, so we can actually leverage that, because we participated in one of the researches on Ukrainian market that was done, the results of the 2025, about private investors investing through syndicates, Ukrainian syndicates. So how much money were invested in 2025 by Ukrainian angel investors through angel syndicates. Just one guess for you. How do you think? What was the number for the whole year?
Oh my God, number of...
like money invested.
For 1 year?
Yes.
In the whole ICLUB group?
No, not in ICLUB. In Ukraine, like it was the question, I think they gathered like not all syndicates, but I would say like 5-7 top syndicates in Ukraine. And
only
they asked
Ukraine?
Them, only Ukraine. Only Ukraine.
How much money?
Yes.
In 1 year, annually?
1 year.
I will tell you.
Just shoot.
$50 million.
Well, thank you for that, but it was 30.
But it's still a lot. I answered because I reacted to your question. I saw your eyes and I thought it's not a...
But you see, it's like 30, but this is...
It's a lot.
But this is official data.
Yeah.
You can imagine, and this is only like top syndicates. There are more syndicates.
Yeah, there are angels who do not report to anybody.
Private investors who are just investing individually.
It's significantly more than in Poland, I think.
Well, it's interesting because I haven't seen like...
We need to talk with Cobbins. They will tell us.
Yeah, because it's interesting to see the data. And I think that Ukrainian investors are very, very, very active. And the market is... And actually, my next question was...
Please.
Yeah. What does the moment that we actually see now on the market with angel investing, private deals, and all this, ecosystem building and being built, does it kind of, is it already there, or are we still at the inception of that? And what is your take, and what we will see in the next, 5 years?
Of angeling?
Yes, angel investing in our region.
I am sorry, Anya.
Yeah.
Your question, this little example with annual investment into Ukrainian market made by angels already forces me to answer that it's not an inception. We are actually in a good moment, in a good hockey stick momentum. As long, I know AI changes, war, supply chains, Hormuz, or in English, Hormuz, everything with tariffs, US, difficulties. Still, if there are AI, of course, I mentioned, if there are leads, if there are targets which can potentially, reasonably offer you extra exponential return on investment, then the market is there. People say, I like very much Artur Kurasiński speech. I heard it last year at the finals of Warsaw Booster. He was a speaker, and he said, he showed me slides, us, the audience, what is the time, how the time shrinks from the inception of the startup into M&A or IPO, and he's legit. It's shorter, smaller teams, more AI tools, faster experiment, fast traction. Everything is faster, but still. So actually, it's even better for angels because they don't need to wait so long.
Absolutely.
And I think also that the energy inside of founders is better if you burst this energy in first year and a half than if you dilute it into 4 years because they're,
Yeah, it's not a startup then.
I would say that it's very good moment for angels right now. Also because VC funds are coming back after, again, Game of Thrones, J.R.R. Martin, after long winter, which was around COVID, beginning of the full-scale Ukraine war in Ukraine by Russia. So 2021, 2022, the war, that was a moment when in Poland we made some mistakes, or European Union, I don't want to blame anybody particularly, but there was a moment when there was no subsidies for venture capital funds. Like all of the legacy of PFR Ventures, great legacy, Polish Development Fund, was stopped for some time, and only now I see that it's regaining its old sex appeal and power. So there are also professional partners, or at least by definition professional. I mean, they should be professional, and there is no reason upfront to say not, who can lead you. TA, good address, of course, but also you can look at other TA is not investing only alone. Very often,
co-investors, always co-investors. Right?
You have co-investors, and it's great because, again, the spectrum of risk that, or other, maybe I will use a snobbish word, the de-risking spectrum is bigger if you have more partners involved.
Of course.
So it's a good moment for angels. I think that one element that stopped us significantly, and we need to learn from Anglo-Saxons, is the legislation.
Oh, yeah.
We are not number one market for angel investments. I checked in my private income tax statement that there was a place where I could put, are there any angel rounds that you made, so you can subtract it from your tax. But there was a little star, only if you invest, and sorry, it's a insight for Polish people who know the industry, only if you invest alongside with ASI, alternative investment vehicle, fund. So and I thought, okay, I gave a little money to startup or two, but not with ASI. So actually lost incentive. We should have a normal, easy incentive. And sorry for assigning roles to our prime minister or any prime minister, but in my dream, the prime minister, he or she, goes to the television or to YouTube and says, hey guys, new information. There are incentives if you want to invest finally into something valuable, which is deep tech startups based on knowledge and intelligence and smart ideas, not only new apartments, new condos. And then we have a nice formula for you. If you invest 100,000, you have incentive like that. We should have it. Switzerland has, Singapore has, Great Britain, US, and I don't know why really.
Time. I hope that just, the maturity of the ecosystem, hopefully more investors that are interested and kind of pushing it as well, from all the kind of ways. So probably then it happens.
And it was you, Anya, who has proven that you don't need to be extremely rich. Actually, I thought you should have 500,000 to do the right portfolio, free money, free cash flow, but you said even smaller.
Yeah.
So it's not, you cannot use a socialistic argument to say, a new incentive to spoil these capitalists, to these devils who have lots of money from their grandparents, which they inherited. No, they are for hardworking class. I haven't inherited anything.
Yeah.
Even.
Yeah.
I
absolutely.
earned. So absolutely, this is something we should work on. And then I will call the ecosystem of angels in Central Eastern Europe, for example, Poland, Baltics, Ukraine, as ready and not a funky market, but a solid market.
We will be going to the end, and I have some parts which are more kind of fast, I would say, rapid. So first, I have some questions, and I want you to answer with one sentence. I have 1, 2, 3,
Me?
5. Yeah, I know, but
Wrong
that's
guess.
the challenge. So, valuation at pre-seed or seed, art or science?
It's an art, but it's educated art. It's like painting industry.
Nice, very nice. Best ticket size for a first-time angel in Europe today?
It's a projection of my own sentiments, but I would go with $20,000.
You see, that's when we are talking about individual. When you are investing individually, and then you're investing through a syndicate, you can make 4 investments from 20,000.
It's better for me, for people like me. Smaller fishes.
Yes, absolutely. Co-invest with close friends. Yes, or reliable way to lose both the money and the friendship?
No. With my friends, another psychological projection, I would not be afraid because they know the game. No,
Okay.
with friends, I would be happy to invest together with you. No. Making business
No,
is
that's
more
different.
difficult,
Yeah.
but investing into some third-party company, it's good.
Okay. The one thing you look at first in pitch deck before anything else.
The size of the problem. If I cannot understand that this problem is really solid, then I do not invest. I don't like, I know it's not one sentence, but I don't like when startups are working on some make-up problems. Like, how will we keep the good temperature on Mars settlements?
Yeah.
Well, we will think in 10 years, okay? So maybe not for my money today.
Absolutely. Angel investing in Europe in 10 years. Bigger, more professional, or quietly dead?
Supposition 1 and supposition 2. Bigger and more professional, definitely more professional. And here again, I'm coming back to AI tools. If you, actually Ania, and maybe me, and Startup Hub Poland and ICLUB, if we teach angels how to use the agents properly, they can even be smarter, I think. And the professionalization is determined course of action.
Agree. And now Blitz, like you answer fast what comes to your mind.
Oh my God.
Your thesis for what makes a great founder in one word. Go.
Hard work and kindness.
2 words, but good words. A founder calls you at 10 p.m. on Sunday. Do you pick up?
Only to give him a lesson that this is unacceptable and a WhatsApp message would be better.
Agree. If 50 euro had to go somewhere right now with no due diligence, one sector, one city. Go.
I would go with medtech, longevity.
Me too.
And city?
Yeah.
Warsaw, because I'm from Warsaw.
Okay.
So it's easier for me to check the guys.
Okay. AI is going to replace angel investors. Agree or disagree? One sentence.
Everybody will replace, but not angel investors.
If your investment philosophy were a food, what would it be and why?
Ooh. I really don't know. Beef jerky.
Wow.
Salty.
Wow.
Tasty. And it can survive long time without hydrating, and it will not expire in a week.
Sustainable.
Yeah.
Last question. What should I have asked you today that I didn't?
I think I tried actually to influence you that we can make a marriage between angel investors and acceleration programs. They are needed there, not as sponsors. They don't need to pay anything, but as a free intellectual group to discuss projects.
Okay, kind of,
Maybe
crash test,
Yeah, crash test. Yeah, even
nice.
cross-examining the founders together. Like,
that's nice.
Maybe one day, come on.
Yeah, we can do that. We have investors based in Warsaw, and they are very willing to, they have this selected deal flow in ICLUB, but they also want kind of to train their perceptions and their skills, and they are very open to try and look at different deal flows. So, yeah.
Anya, I'm so sorry. You asked me about one question you haven't asked, but there is another one.
Okay.
And it's a political one about Ukraine and Poland. I need to answer this one.
Please do.
The question would be, and you haven't asked me, what is the future of Ukraine and Poland?
I know
on the
what
map?
Is in your vision. So, yeah, but please.
These two guys, Ukraine and Poland, are a leading couple of New Europe of 21st century with powerhouse abilities and relatively cost-effective talent. After war won by Ukraine in full extent, Ukraine will be really a powerhouse for new investment. And no matter all the crazy, arrogant remarks made by skeptics that these two nations cannot live together in a peaceful and friendly conditions, I use a startup and investment ecosystem as an example of how great we can work together, how much we like each other, we appreciate each other, presence next to one to another, and learn from startup ecosystem. How great these two roots can plant new reality.
Thank you for that.
Sorry, I know it's cheap, maybe. I know it's romantic.
No, but it's
today
very important.
so many discussions,
It's
and I know you have many Ukrainian and Polish viewers. So remember,
absolutely, we are strong together.
This is the future, and I'm happy looking forward to it.
Agree. And I have the close. So someone is listening right now, right? And they might have 25,000 euro, for example.
Free cash flow.
Some free cash flow. And there's a friend who keeps pitching them on his startup. What do you actually tell them? To invest or keep it?
There is a friend who constantly...
Yeah, and the friend who is building a startup and asks for you have this money, you can invest in me, and you can invest in me,
I believe I said about expiring day.
Yeah.
It's also for pitches. If a pitch went once negatively, second time, third time, you do not eat this deal. It's like, I know you might constantly go deeper and deeper into make a big business mistake, but I recently got a phone call from a startup that I met 7 years ago, and he's still working on it. I said, persistence is good, but hey, if the answer from everywhere is negative, there is something wrong.
Listen to the universe.
Listen to the universe, exactly.
Absolutely. So agree. And I would also say you can invest those money with much more efficiently.
You can give, because you are a good friend. You can actually give this money to your friend, but it's not an investment.
Okay, like a loan, you mean?
Or as a beautiful gift.
Okay.
Or as a loan, but don't treat it in your head as an investment
and expect some returns.
Maybe your friendship deserves this money.
Okay.
But don't look at it as a return on investment.
Interesting. But I'd also say that there are some other options that you can invest this money in. Like you can invest them into building your first steps into the angel investing and kind of into your education, starting joining some group or learning something new and starting this journey because for me, I always say that if you want to start investing, the best time was yesterday, because with every day it's just you're you will have more and more arguments why no. You can start investing, but think about what you're investing into, right?
If you really cannot get rid of your friend who wants to pitch you for the 7th and 8th time, you can say, hey, great that you are calling me. I also have a business for 25,000. Would you invest into mine?
Nice
make
one.
It mirror
Nice
and then
one.
look at the reaction.
That's a good one. From your philosophical years, I see that. Maciek, thank you so much. That was a pleasure. I think a lot of insights. I hope that everyone...
Dziękuję.
Dziękuję bardzo. Naprawdę.
Dziękuję.